My child, my beloved, Archangel Michael says you are moving, not just houses, not just locations, not just zip codes or new addresses or the geometry of a different set of walls. You are moving into a season you prayed for, a divine promise that was delayed for years, but has now been released. And what you are about to see in your spirit is not fantasy. It is not the hopeful projection of a heart that has been waiting so long. It has started manufacturing its own comfort. It is the actual picture, the actual place, the environment where peace will overflow and your soul will finally find the rest it has been reaching toward through every difficult chapter of the season that is now ending. Heaven has been waiting for this exact moment to reach you. The message you are receiving right now was nearly blocked from arriving, not by accident and not by the ordinary friction of divine timing, but by the specific interference of something that knew what this message would do when it arrived at you. Something that understood that once you received this word, the movement it was confirming would accelerate into its final completion. And so there were attempts to intercept this, to send distraction at the exact moment the message was trying to find you, to fill the space where stillness was needed with noise, to keep you moving too fast to notice the thing pressing toward you through the noise. But heaven moved the veil aside because the angels needed you to know you are moving. Please listen with your heart open, not just with your mind, because what is being spoken here will land in a deeper place than thought if you allow it. And the landing is the whole point. You have been feeling it, have you not? That inner shift, that divine discomfort with where you are, that urge to clean, to clear, to release things that have occupied your space and your spirit for too long. The pull to get rid of what no longer fits the version of you that is forming. The restlessness that is not about what is wrong with where you are, but about what is calling you toward where you are going. That was not coincidence. That was not ordinary dissatisfaction. That was your soul responding to the call of the place that has already been prepared for you. The spiritual lease of this season is expiring, and heaven is handing you new keys. Before we go deeper into what those keys unlock and what the place looks like, and why the enemy has been working so hard to keep you from getting there, there is something I want to pause and say honestly this work. The mission of speaking heaven's confirmation to the beloved ones who are standing at the threshold of the most significant movement of their life and need someone to name what they are sensing before the window of alignment passes. It takes real investment to sustain. Behind every word here is prayer, preparation, and the faithful partnership of people who received something real and chose to carry it forward. If something in your spirit already recognized what was just named, if the description of the inner shift and the urge to clear and the spiritual discomfort with where you are landed, with the specific quality of something that has been real in your life for weeks or months, consider supporting this mission through the link in the pinned comment and in the description below. You can give as little as the cost of 1 cup of coffee. That seed goes directly into the work that found you today. As you sow into ground that carries this kind of anointing, watch what heaven sows back. The link is there when your spirit says yes. Now come with me into the full picture of where you are going and what has been happening while you were waiting to understand why. The move has already been arranged, not by you, not by human planning, by a divine arrangement that was set in motion before you understood what was being prepared. The place already exists. Your name is already in the walls, written in the spiritual substance of what was built for you before the circumstances of your life had yet arrived at the moment when you would understand you needed it. Your energy is already there. The frequency of who you are has already impressed itself on the place that is being made, ready for your arrival. Let that settle into you. You have been walking towards something that has already been waiting for you. Every delay in getting there was not a failure of the journey. It was the specific timing of an arrangement that required everything to be positioned precisely before the arrival could happen. The delays were not telling you you were going the wrong direction. They were holding you in the right position until the moment of arrival had come to full readiness. And that moment is now. I am going to describe the place, and something inside you will tremble when you recognize it, because your soul has been there before, in visions and in dreams whose content dissolved before you could hold it, but whose feelings stayed with you through the morning and into the day, in moments of inexplicable peace that arrived when your circumstances offered no logical source for peace, in the recurring sense of something better that never fully resolved into a description, but was always there as a knowing. There is a hallway in this place with a quality of light that does not come from fixtures or bulbs. It comes from the peace that lives there. The energy of the place is so pure that it seems to glow from the inside. There is a window that faces toward your future. When you look out through that window, you will feel something specific and ancient settle into your chest. Something that has no simple name in ordinary language, but that your spirit will immediately recognize as the sensation of coming home to something holy. And in that place, there will be no pretending, no performing, no shrinking yourself to fit into spaces that were never designed to hold who you actually are. This place was built for your spirit to expand, and it will. You will find yourself breathing deeper there, laughing without needing a reason, speaking more softly, not from defeat, but from the genuine ease of someone who is no longer in survival mode. There is a specific texture to peace that you have not experienced yet. Not peace as the absence of conflict, not the relief that comes when a stressful situation temporarily resolves. The kind of peace that lives in the bones. That is present whether the circumstances are working in your favor or not, because it does not depend on circumstances for its source. The kind that makes other people notice something different about you before you have said anything, because it is not a posture or an attitude you perform. It is an environment you inhabit. That is the kind of peace that this place carries. And when you arrive in it, when you step through the door that has your name carved into the foundation, something in you will recognize it before your mind has finished processing. Why, your body will relax in a way it has not relaxed in years. Your shoulders will release something they have been holding without your conscious permission. The specific quality of alertness that comes from having been in a difficult environment for too long will soften. And in that softening, you will understand, perhaps for the first time with the full weight of knowledge, rather than just intellectual assent, what it actually means to rest, not to sleep or to stop, to rest. To be held in something rather than holding everything up, to be inside an environment that is for you rather than inside one that requires constant navigation and management and careful calibration of how much of yourself is safe to bring into any given moment. This is where you are going. This is what the move produces. My beloved child, you have been surviving too long. You have been managing the conditions of your life with the extraordinary discipline of someone who decided long ago to stay functional inside circumstances that were never meant to be permanent. The endurance was real. The faithfulness through it was real. But it was always meant to lead here, to this transition, to this moving. You were not supposed to survive your life. You were supposed to live it. And this is the move that takes you from surviving into living. Now, let me speak honestly about what has been happening behind the scenes of the life you have been observing. The enemy knew about the place that was being prepared for you. That is not an accident or a dramatic flourish. It is the specific nature of how opposition to divine destiny works. The enemy does not attack randomly. He studies what is being prepared and specifically interferes with the path that leads there. That is why everything started going wrong precisely in the season when you were getting close to discovering this place. That is why the delays came with such specific precision. That is why the isolation increased at exactly the moment when connection to the right people and the right environments would have accelerated your understanding of where you were being taken. The enemy panicked, not because you are a small problem, because what was being prepared for you and what you are going to carry into the place you are moving to represent something that the forces opposed to divine order cannot afford to let you access. Your light in its full expression, operating from the environment that was designed to support it, will produce something that darkness is actively working to prevent. But heaven intervened, and the intervention is why you are here right now, reading these words, feeling that specific quality of recognition that your mind is still catching up to because your spirit received it first. The pressure you feel right now is not fear. It is transition, the specific sensation of pressure that precedes a birth. You are not being crushed by what you feel. You are being pushed through the narrow passage between who you were in the previous season and who you are becoming in the next one. And that passage has always felt exactly like this, constricting before it opens, dark before it brightens, like an ending before it becomes unmistakably a beginning. You are birthing a new life, a new location, a new identity, because the version of you that lives in this new place is not just healed from what the previous season cost you. They are transformed by it. The suffering was not in vain. The endurance was not just endurance. It was formation. And what was being formed was the specific version of you that the promised place was built to receive. Before this word goes into the next layer, I want to speak to something directly. There are beloved ones reading this right now who have been in the transition space for so long that the concept of moving forward has become difficult to believe in fully, who have felt the inner pull and the divine discomfort and the urge to clear and release, but who have also felt those feelings before and not yet arrived at the place they seem to be pointing toward, whose hope has been careful recently, because hope that is disappointed enough times develops a protective mechanism that limits its own reach. This ministry exists to speak the truth to those people. At the exact moment their spiritual lease is expiring, and heaven is ready to hand them the new keys. And it continues because of the partnership of people who received something real here and chose to seed into it. If this is where you are, if the transition has been longer than you could have predicted, and your hope has developed the careful quality of something that has learned not to fully extend itself, support this mission through the link in the pinned comment and in the description below. Every contribution reaches the next beloved one whose transition has been long enough to test the endurance of their faith. Give what your spirit confirms. The link is right there. Now come with me into the truth about what the enemy has been doing in your life and what is about to happen to them. There is a person who has been working against you, not necessarily with open hostility, with the specific covert form of opposition that carries a familiar face and a practiced warmth while doing something completely different in the spaces you cannot observe. This person has told your story in rooms where you were not present, has used information you shared from a place of trust as material for a narrative that served their agenda rather than your well-being, has planted seeds of doubt in the minds of people who would have been valuable to you, has constructed a version of your story that serves as the explanation for whatever difficulty you have been experiencing with themselves, positioned as the reasonable observer rather than as part of what created the difficulty. They believed they were untouchable. They built their confidence on a foundation of lies that they piled together thickly enough that they genuinely began to feel like stability. But my beloved, Lies are not stone. Lies are paper, and the fire of truth burns through paper in an instant. Even now that fire is moving toward them, they can smell the smoke if they are paying attention, and they are paying attention. That is why their demeanor has carried a slight tremor recently. That is why they have been checking in on you with an attention that feels off in its timing and its quality. They know something is coming, even though they cannot see its full shape yet. They know the arrangement they built on the back of your story is about to be revealed for what it actually is. Heaven has been watching the entire construction. Every lie, every calculated move, every moment of covert interference with your path, and the accounting is complete. The exposure is being prepared, not by your hand, by the hand of divine justice operating through the ordinary mechanisms of truth, eventually making its way into the light. Do you remember the moments when you almost confronted them? The moments when the anger was real and the evidence was enough, and the desire to simply speak what you knew was overwhelming, and yet something held you back. Something whispered, "Not yet, not this way, not in their territory." That was heaven. That was the restraint that was necessary to ensure that when the truth came out, it would come from a source that could not be attributed to your bitterness or your retaliation. Your hands had to be clean, not because what was done to you was not worth confronting, because a confrontation from you would have been absorbed into their narrative as further evidence of the story they were telling about you, but a confrontation from the truth itself, moving through channels that have nothing to do with you, that cannot be dismissed, that cannot be made part of their version. Your restraint was wisdom. It was heaven's way of keeping your hands clean, so that when the exposure happened, not one person could look at it and see your fingerprints on it. And because you left the fight to God, He is now stepping into it in full force. But before the exposure arrives, there are signs being placed in your path that are part of the divine breadcrumb trail leading you to the confirmed understanding of what has been happening and what is about to change. You have already been seeing some of them. A passing conversation that mentioned something relevant in a way that felt too specific to be coincidental. A street name or a word that keeps appearing in unrelated contexts with a frequency that your spirit registers as significant, even when your mind tries to explain it away. A forgotten dream that surfaces in memory at an unexpected moment and carries the specific quality of something important trying to be received. An old notebook or an old journal entry that contains something you wrote in a different season, that now reads like prophecy because it describes something that is actually happening. None of it was random. All of it was part of the arranged trail that heaven has been leaving for you to follow toward the understanding that arrives now. In this message, at this moment, you have been on the path longer than you knew, and the destination has been real the entire time, even in the moments when it felt like nothing more than a hope. You were managing carefully to protect yourself from the pain of another disappointment. The door is open. It is a living thing. It breathes and it responds, and it has been holding itself open for you specifically while remaining closed to everything that was trying to come through it on the back of what belongs to you. But a living door does not hold itself open indefinitely without the one it was opened for arriving to walk through it. This is the message. The door is open. The time is now. And beloved, when the exposure arrives, do not rush to speak. Do not rush to explain or vindicate or let every person who doubted you know that you had been right all along. Let the truth speak for itself. God does not need you to defend what He is already proving. Those who are always genuinely looking at the situation will see it clearly. Those who chose the false narrative because it served their own purposes will be confronted by their own choice. And that is not your responsibility to manage. We are now at the midpoint of this message. And I want to pause here and name what has been happening as these words have reached you. You have been receiving more than information. You have been receiving confirmation of what your spirit already knew, but could not prove to your mind. The recognition is real. The reason these words are landing with such specific weight is not because they are general or skillfully written. It is because they are accurate. They are named after what you have been living, and the accuracy is itself the divine signature that tells you this message was prepared for you. Not for a general audience, but for the specific configuration of experience and circumstance and waiting and hope turned careful that exists in your particular life right now. This ministry will keep building these encounters for the beloved ones who are at this exact intersection of expiring lease and new keys and moving into promise. And it continues because of the faithful partnership of people who receive something real here and chose to be part of what carries it forward. If today this word has been that confirmation, support this mission through the link in the pinned comment and in the description below. Give what your spirit confirms. Plant what is yours to plant. Every seed here reaches the next beloved one before their window of alignment passes. The link is right there. Now hear what comes after the exposure and after the move, because this is where the story gets larger than you have been allowing yourself to believe. What is being prepared for you is not simply the ending of what has been working against you. It is the beginning of something that will seem disproportionate to what you have endured if you are measuring by the scales of ordinary cause and effect. Let me tell you how heaven's restoration actually works. When something is taken from a beloved child through covert, means through lies and manipulation and covert interference with what was prepared for them. The divine accounting does not simply restore what was taken. It restores what was taken plus what the taking cost in all its forms. The time, the opportunity, the energy that went into managing the presence of the person who was doing the taking, the relationships that were affected by the narrative they constructed, the confidence that was eroded by the sustained presence of a voice that was working against you, the faith that was tested by the confusion of trying to understand why things were not moving when the effort was real. All of it goes into the accounting. All of it is returned. Not in the same form necessarily. Some of what was taken cannot be returned in identical form because the form it existed in was specific to a season that is now complete. But it is returned as something that carries the same weight of value in the new season. An opportunity that matches the scale of the one that was stolen. A relationship that carries the depth and quality of what the manipulation disrupted. A confidence that is actually stronger for having been tested than it would have been if it had never been challenged. This is not a general encouragement. This is the specific promise that applies to the specific situation of a specific beloved one whose name heaven knows and whose loss heaven has recorded in full detail. What is being prepared for you is not simply the ending of what has been working against you. It is the beginning of something that will seem disproportionate to what you have endured, which is to say what is coming to you will arrive in a measure that exceeds the loss. Not just restoration, pressed down, shaken together, running over restoration. The kind that makes people who have been watching your story look at what arrives and understand without being told that what they are witnessing is not the product of human effort or strategic recovery. It is the product of divine accounting finally distributing the return on what was deposited through every faithful act of the difficult season. Do not hesitate when it arrives. Do not let the unfamiliarity of actually receiving in the full measure of what was prepared cause you to hold back from it. Too many of God's beloved ones see their breakthrough forming and hesitate. They wonder if it is too good to be true. They look at the size of what is approaching and compare it to the size of what they have learned to expect and decide that something so large must have a catch. There is no catch, there is only the promise. And the promise does not calculate what is owed on the basis of what seems reasonable. It calculates on the basis of what was given in the season, when the giving produced nothing visible, and what was given in your season was extraordinary. There will come a night very soon, perhaps sooner than you expect, when you will sit in the quiet of wherever you are and feel something lift that you had forgotten was there because you had carried it for so long. The weight you normalized, the pressure you metabolized into your daily experience until it stopped feeling like pressure and just felt like reality. It will lift not gradually, not in the slow, incremental way that improvement usually feels, all at once in a single moment that you will recognize not by anything that changes outside you, but by what suddenly changes inside you. In that moment you will know you are living inside the answer to prayers that you once thought would take another lifetime to be fulfilled, and in that knowing there will be a peace that is not like the peace you have experienced before, not the fragile peace that can be disrupted by one difficult conversation. The deep, unshakable peace of someone who has seen God keep his word in the specific and personal way that requires nothing to be explained because the evidence is its own explanation. When the moment comes, do not explain it. Do not rush to credit yourself or your strategy or your resilience. Though all of those were real and all of them mattered, simply receive it. Let yourself inhabit it fully. Let the weight of having waited so long for something so necessary add dimension to the receiving rather than diminishing it. You are safe to receive this. You always were, but now you know it. After the exposure, those who once turned away when your circumstances were hard will begin to turn back toward you. They will frame their return in ways that manage their own accountability. They will imply they were always on your side in spirit, even when their actions said otherwise. They will arrive with the particular warmth of people who have watched you rise and want proximity to what you are becoming. Be wise. Welcome them with the generosity that is one of the things that distinguishes who you are, but do not give them access to the places that God has healed. Not from bitterness, from the specific wisdom of someone who has learned through real experience the difference between those who are drawn to your light because they genuinely want to carry it and those who are drawn to it because they want to be near it. Let the discernment that was built through the difficult seasons serve you now. Keep your faith steady in the days after the shift begins to become visible, because there will be moments when the old voices try to reach you again. Not always through the people themselves, through the patterns they installed, the reflexes of self-doubt that were not originally yours, but that were seeded through sustained exposure to a voice that was questioning your worth and your direction. When those reflexes activate, recognize them for what they are. Not your truth, the residue of something that no longer has the access it once had. And above all, keep your heart anchored in gratitude, not as a spiritual discipline you perform, as the genuine recognition that what is happening around your name has been arranged by something that loves you with a precision and a patience that no human relationship can fully model. Every detail of the approach to this moment was considered. Every element of the timing was deliberate, and the outcome is not in doubt. The air before a great storm is still and heavy, holding its breath before the clouds split open with force. That is where you are right now, the still and heavy moment before what has been building finally releases with the full force of everything that accumulated in the preparation. When it comes, it will come suddenly. One moment, the landscape of your circumstances will look the way it has been looking. The next, everything will be different in ways that are undeniable and unmistakable, and cannot be attributed to coincidence by anyone who has been paying attention. Be wise. Welcome them with the generosity that distinguishes who you are. Before this word draws to its close, one final invitation. You have stayed through every layer of this encounter, through the vision of the place that is waiting, through the exposure of what has been working against you, through the promise of what is being released, through the instruction about how to receive and how to navigate what comes after. That staying is itself a spiritual act. It is the open hand of someone who chose to receive rather than to protect themselves from the possibility of hoping one more time. This ministry will keep building these moments, keep finding the beloved ones who are at the threshold of their promised move and speaking the confirmation they need to step forward rather than pull back one more time. And it continues because of the partnership of people who receive something real here and chose to carry it forward. If today this message was that confirmation, support this mission through the link in the pinned comment and in the description below. Every contribution becomes part of what reaches the next beloved one before the spiritual lease on their difficult season expires without them knowing the new keys were ready. Give what your spirit confirms. Plant what is yours to plant. The link is right there, Father. I lift up the specific beloved one who has stayed through every word of this encounter. The one who has been in the transition for longer than they could have predicted. The one who has been sensing the inner shift and the urge to clear and release without fully understanding what they were being prepared to move toward. The one whose hope has become careful and who needs this confirmation to allow it to extend fully one more time. Let the place that has been prepared for them begin to make itself known through the signs that are already in motion around their name. Let the exposure of what has been working against them happen with the precision and the completeness that removes every question about its source. Let the move they are about to make carry the full blessing of what was promised before any of the difficulty began. Let the restraint they exercised in the difficult season be fully credited in the divine accounting that is now distributing the return. Let them feel the weight lift on the night that is coming soon. Let them stand in the full receiving of the pressed down, shaken together, running over measure that was always the promised response to their faithfulness. In the name of Jesus Christ, it is done. Now, my beloved, 4 things before this encounter closes. The first is your declaration. Go to the comments right now and type, I am moving into my promise, not as a wish, as the agreement of your spirit with what has already been decided. As the moment your own voice participates in the sealing of what this encounter activated, you are not waiting to see if the move will happen. You are declaring that it is already in motion, and you are stepping into alignment with what was always prepared. Type it now. Let it stand in the atmosphere of your life. The second is the like button. Press it now, not for a metric. Press it for every beloved one in your world who is sensing the inner shift of their spiritual lease expiring and their new keys being prepared, but who does not yet have the confirmation this word carries, who needs someone to make sure this message finds them before they interpret the divine discomfort of transition as evidence that something is going wrong when it is evidence that something is moving forward. When you press like, you become the hand that carries the message further. One click, do it now. The third is the subscribe button. Hit it now and turn on the notification bell. This encounter is not the conclusion of what heaven wants to say to you in this season. It is the beginning of a connected series of confirmations that build on what was activated here. The next time Archangel Michael comes, he will not come with a warning. He will come with a confirmation that what was spoken today has manifested in the visible world, and you will want to be connected when that arrives. Subscribe now, stay in the sequence. The fourth is to share this message today, not tomorrow. Today, while the weight of the vision is still alive in your spirit, there is a beloved one in your world who is also in transition, who is also feeling the inner shift, who is also sensing that something is being prepared that they cannot yet fully see, who needs this confirmation as urgently as you did. Send this to them. Post it. Be the means by which the message that nearly did not reach you now reaches the person for whom it was also prepared. My beloved child, the spiritual lease is expiring. The new keys are in heaven's hand. The place is ready. Your name is already in the walls. The move is happening. The one who tried to steal from you will face what they have sown, and you will walk forward, not as a victim of what they did, but as a victor crowned by the very hand of the God who watched every moment of what was done and never once looked away. Lift your head. The night of feeling the shift completely is very close. Be ready with your lamp full. Be ready in the morning and in the evening. When it comes, it will come like the midnight cry, sudden, unmistakable, and exactly on time, and then you will know the move was always real, the place was always prepared, and the God who delayed the release until the timing was exact has never, not for a single moment, taken his eyes off of your future. This was not a message you stumbled onto. This is a message that found you because it was prepared for you. And now that it has arrived, everything it was carrying has been deposited. The confirmation is real. The promise is real. The move is real. And so it is